Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm going to talk about resiliency. So as you may know, Zscaler is a cloud service provider, and we protect 50 million users across the world to securely access applications, private applications, and cloud applications. So I thought that was interesting today to talk about how Zscaler prepared the customers to a black swan event. So what do I mean by black swan event? Black swan event is like unpredictable events that bring a global disruption. So something a bit similar to what happened to CrowdStrike in the past month. So why are we using cloud security services? Everybody now uses cloud security services, including for EDR, SIEM, SASE platforms. The advantage of cloud security is real, right? So we have ease of use, we have scalability, agility, and so on. So cloud services is quite interesting for cybersecurity practitioners. But the side effect of cloud security is this one, right? So what happened in August 2024 this year is that probably cloud cybersecurity vendors bring the large IT outage in history. Unfortunately, this event can happen, and that's where we are trying to prepare our customers for this type of events. So does that mean that we need to ban cloud security? I'm not too sure. But if you look at these events, about 8.5 million devices across the world were impacted by this single event from a single vendor. So now, talking about cloud services and reliability, do we really want to ban cloud services? I don't think so. So the idea is we need to have proper due diligence when you select your vendor. So there are different vendors and they have different capabilities. But before you buy or you subscribe to the service, you need to make sure that you have this proper due diligence in place. So as you know, the traditional IT security or IT infrastructure is something that you can control, that you can test. But as you move to cloud, you need to make sure that the cloud supplier is taking care of all the security services and reliability and high availability that you used to have in place. So you don't rely anymore on security controls, but you rely more on compliancy and certifications. So due diligence is key. And as you can see here, the SASE platform or SSE platform provided by Zscaler, but other cybersecurity vendors, is key for the enterprise to give access to applications. So we give access securely to private applications, public applications, from users and from different entities. So if this cloud in the middle come to be down or have an outage, is the access to applications and the business continuity, this is impacted. So 2 years ago, what Zscaler did, we didn't wait for this incident that happened in August. We actually have done two main things. The first of all, we bring more resiliency capabilities into our cloud. As the cloud is in the middle of every traffic, we want to make sure that it's fully available. And we are also helping our customers to bring these capabilities into their environment and to make sure that they can benefit from these capabilities. Just to give you an example, if the cloud is fully down today, so let's imagine Zscaler is fully down, there are still mechanisms in place for our customers to make sure that we still deliver the service. I think in your due diligence, obviously you need to look at the certifications, but you also need to understand what's behind the cloud infrastructure, what's behind the cloud service. So the architecture is key. At Zscaler, we have an architecture which is based on 3 tiers. And the beauty of this architecture is that every single data center is available and is active to receive traffic from our customers. What does that mean? It means if one data center is down, immediately the traffic can be handed over to another data center and the business policy can be applied. So there is no really time to recover, it's immediately done. The other thing you need to pay attention is when you buy a cybersecurity solution or SSE vendors, you're not buying anymore a solution, you're buying a service. So you need to make sure that the SLA are clear and they are well defined. You also need to make sure that the exclusions are not too bad. So for example, one of these vendors, it's an SSE vendor on the market, they are proposing SLA, availability SLA, 100% of the time, excluding events or excluding disruption of the cloud, which means actually it doesn't cover anything. They are also excluding high availability events as well as scalability events, which for a cloud is kind of counterintuitive. Another vendor proposed SLA on the latency, so it's quite good to have a low latency when using SSE, but they are excluding scanning, DLP, and threat protection from this SLA. So what's the point using SSE if you're excluding scanning of data protection and threat protection? So pay attention to the SLA and don't be fooled by the marketing. So when you look at different scenarios of catastrophic failure, or if you look at different scenarios of black swan events, we divide into three different scenarios. The first one is the blackout scenario. It's quite easy for us to handle. It's like no more data center in the region, no more data center, for example, in Singapore, and we have very easy way to fail over the traffic to a second data center which is located in the region. Another event could be what we call brownout. Brownout is not like Zscaler is not available, but as you may know, we use the internet as a transport layer to access the clouds, okay? So what if the internet is slow, or what if the internet has an issue? So we need to make sure that we can monitor this path from the users to the data center to select the best data center. So that's not a blackout, that's what we call a brownout, and we have mechanism in place to make sure that we select the best data center. The last one, which sounds like a bit unrealistic, but actually that's what exactly happened to the EDR CrowdStrike, is like catastrophic failure. It's like no service is available, or it creates a so big disruption that you can't run the service anymore. So it never happened to us, but it could happen even with SLA. So the idea is, if Zscaler disappears totally from the planet, there is no more cloud, we still have ways to propose like private infrastructure to our customers so they can fail over to this infrastructure that they host, and they can still run the service regardless of the status of Zscaler. And then in the meantime, we can recover and we can come back to have the service up and running. What we are doing is not to bring these capabilities, but is to help our customers with an audit where we will help them to check if they are using these capabilities and making sure that we are achieving the target or the goal in terms of resiliency. So there is a scoring which is done by Zscaler security professionals or professional services. They assess the configurations. If you are existing Zscaler customer, come to us and we can talk about it. But the idea is you are doing that assessment and you are making sure you're using every techniques available to you to have this high availability in place. If I want to conclude, I would like to give you some advice when you choose a vendor, or even if it's a SASE vendor or any type of vendor, which is coming from our experience. So first of all, do a proper due diligence. Don't only look at the certifications, but have a look at the architecture. Understand the architecture, understand the mechanism behind it, and look at the SLA. So SLA with exclusions doesn't mean anything. Second, important point, if you have endpoints or agents that are necessary to be installed, like what is Zscaler proposing, for example, you need to make sure that you have full control of these updates. Don't let the cloud service updates automatically the agents, because that's very critical. So you need to make sure you have control and you can progressively deploy the updates. Third point, what if the cloud is not available? So I've seen one session before about supply chain, so it's exactly the question you need to ask. What if you are not available? What are the options you propose to me if the cloud is fully down? So that's exactly what we are trying to do with the disaster recovery options, with private infrastructure hosted on customer side, that should be used only in a case of black swan event, which means unpredictable, high impact events. Number 4, understand the shared responsibility model. Is your cloud provider using another cloud provider who is using another cloud provider? Or are they building their own cloud? I think it's very important to understand what are the subcontractors, where is your data, what type of service they are using to assess the risk. And last but not least, cloud management lifecycle. Obviously, the cloud is dynamic. It updates every single day, every single minute for Zscaler. So make sure that you understand the impact of these updates and that you have the scheduling in mind so you can assess the risk of this type of updates accordingly. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, you can come to the booth. Thank you.
All right, congratulations on that, Charles Repain. Okay, so once again, the key points to assess your cloud security vendor, due diligence, endpoint, agent update, disaster recover, shared responsibility.
In a world where data is everywhere, apps are everywhere, and employees are working everywhere, cyber attackers are harnessing artificial intelligence to compromise users and organizations. Firewalls and VPNs are no longer protecting you. In fact, they have become the attack surface. Which is why at Zscaler, we're fighting AI with better AI, enabling you to predict threats before they happen. We've extended our Zero Trust architecture with powerful AI engines that are trained and tuned by 400 billion daily transactions. That's 500 trillion daily signals helping you to get real when it comes to digital security. Learn more about the real power of Zscaler Zero Trust plus AI to prevent AI attacks, while gaining the agility of the cloud. Zscaler. Experience your world secured.